Hello and welcome to episode 9. Oh my God, I almost forgot what episode it was of the Mindshift experiment. Tonight is going to be a super fun one. First and foremost, like we always start off, we say thank you so much for those of you guys that have supported us, watched us, listened to us, and tell us how much this has meant to you and how much this experiment is helping you. That is exactly why we do it. Trust me, we do it for that and that only at this point. But we are really thrilled. Wait, I didn't even introduce myself. Hi, my name is Amanda Knox.
Hi, I'm Carter Brown. This is
Listen,
my
we've had,
husband, Tyler.
honestly,
Hello.
this is so authentic. We've had so many technical difficulties
It's
tonight.
taken us 20 minutes to start this episode.
It's been a journey.
It's been a journey, and we could, edit it to be cute. It's not happening. It actually is not happening tonight, but we're doing something really fun. We're actually calling this the experiment's perspective from the other side. And what it is are poor men that are not so poor anymore because they got to witness us doing this amazing experiment. And we want to hear about it from their perspective. This was inspired by multiple people messaging us about our podcast and how much it's helped them, but with the feedback of my husband is not on board. He doesn't understand. He's not supportive of me doing this or thinking this way or anything along those lines. And we just wanted to share the other side's perspective and a little bit of their messages. So before we move on to them and introducing them, Carter, do you have anything you want to add?
I'm just really excited about this episode because, yes, multiple people have been like, my husband either will not listen to this or you are helping my husband and having immense breakthroughs. Like I had someone tell me yesterday that like their husband cried during some episodes and had major breakthroughs that realized like that they have so much trauma that they need to process through from childhood that they've been suppressing. And so that's really encouraging. So I applaud y'all for even trying. Chris, I feel like has really paved the way for Tyler to really like establish this type of thinking. We've been meaning to have this conversation for a while, actually, to like get Tyler's perspective Chris's perspective so that Tyler could be like, all right, okay, like I will give in. But, I was telling Amanda earlier that if we had this podcast a month ago, even 2 weeks ago, I feel like Tyler wouldn't be able to share much other than like seeing my perspective and from his perspective, what I've been going through. But he has given in to the experiment a little bit and has some incredible breakthroughs to share. But we'll get into that later. But really, I want to hear about Chris and, what he thought when he was like, okay, you watched this TikTok video and now what do you want to do?
Well, and it goes so much deeper than that. And before we get into it, guys, this is my amazing husband, Carter Knox.
I thought you were going to forget.
Anyways, we've been married for 13 and a half years. We have 3 beautiful children together. And I want to start off by saying, this isn't like a podcast that is convincing your husband to get on board. We are walking you through the journey of them watching us walk the walk, what it did for them, because I feel like that is so incredibly important. Ours started with, if you don't mind me starting that part, ours started with my husband being like, I really need you to get it right in your soul that we're probably going to have to sell our farm. And that I could not grasp that. I said, no, I did not work as hard as I did for us to build our dream and buy our dream home in order to turn around and have to sell it so quickly. Like I refuse. And that, it was a hard pass for me. And then what's even crazier is I started being receptive to it, being like, you know what? Like maybe he's right. He's the voice of reason. And I'm the voice of not reason. It's not that I'm not reasonable. It's that I'm the dreamer and always have been, and the entrepreneur and the go-getter, where he's like the logical side, the calm side. You see I've got a big personality and I'm a people person. Then we've got my calm, cool, collective husband who is just, God's gift to earth for me, because Lord knows we need to balance each other out. But that's where it really started. So I'd love to start there and to walk us through your journey.
Yeah. So I think it wasn't like, hey, we're going to have to get rid of. We started having conversations about what are we going to do? Like, is this worth it? Is this going like continuously stressing out, having to look at our bank accounts, seeing out how are we going to make ends meet. And that's where a lot of this started. And, you kind of came to me and like, I'm going to change the way that like I think and I act and I do every day. And I'm going to stop asking questions, and I'm going to start, like, you started speaking in a self-worth like I've never seen before. And I think that's like where it was very pivotal for me, of just seeing that confidence and just that self-love. And you started to speak in that future state of I am. And you started talking about where you were going and where you already are. And for me as a husband, I was kind of taken back, right? I was like, and for those husbands that are listening, right, it'll feel foreign in a sense, right? It's not the norm that we hear about as we grew up in a system and in a school structure. It felt off, right? And so what more could I do though? Like when we entered it into a partnership, right, in our marriage, it was like my place as a husband felt like I need to be the foundation. I need to be the safe space. So I had two options, right? And when the shift was going on and you started to kind of dive in and take control, it was either I could dismiss it or I could lean into it and trust and like have that love and intention with you to learn, right? And at the end of it, right, here we are today. We're not the end of it, but
At the end of it.
yeah, I'm so glad I chose the second option, right? It's like I'm seeing so much success. We're seeing validation, evidence that's been involved with this mind shift and this belief, and it's a beautiful thing, so.
Well, I remember there was a moment where it was either on our couch or our back porch, and I knew it was bad, but I had just had this like moment of reckoning and of internal clarity to the point where I walked out to him and I said, yeah, I'm going to start spending like I know we have a lot of money and I need you to trust me. And he was just like, what? And I literally was like, yeah, I need you to trust me. And I also need you to participate, and here's how you're going to do it. And I was just like, stop obsessing over what's in the bank account because it is about to change. And I mean, he had never heard me speak like that. But I was like, I know I'm about to sound incredibly delusional, but like, hear me out. Because I said to him, we have nothing else to lose except this house, and I am not going to do that. And it wasn't at a point of like we were going to lose our house. We were just going to have to sell it because it was too much to keep up with where my business had taken a deep dive and what we were just no longer able to do when we were when we bought it. But that's where it really started. From you watching me saying that, it was within days that all of a sudden this like miracle after insane things started happening, all in the financial, aspect of things. How did that moment feel for you where you saw, I mean, it was not instant, but I mean, pretty close.
It was
surreal.
It was surreal. That's a perfect word for it. Thank you. Because it's like we were living in this moment where, it was almost night and day that, where we were having a conversation and everything pivoted. It was a complete 180 from what we were living, and just all of these things started falling into place. The conversation about looking at our bank account, that's essentially dissipated, right? Like
we stopped. That was the moment we stopped doing that.
Yeah, like we're more focused on stocks and what that account looks like versus what we're spending and what's happening at the grocery store, right? And it's just a conversation of change that's happened.
Yeah, but how has this now affected like your mindset then? You watch this unfold. Where is your mindset at now? As opposed, like in the comparison game.
Yeah. No, I mean, it challenged me, right? And I think that's the biggest outcome for me, that like, yeah, in the beginning it was foreign, but then you start to see the evidence and what's played out. And now I have so much belief in what's already happening and what's continuing to happen, that now I challenge myself and what the thoughts that I have, the people I surround myself with, right? And the conversations, I'm very careful on how I speak, because I'm going to speak in the, upper level realm that I want to be in, that place that I want to be at, as opposed to I wish, or I think, or I hope, right? Like those were very
I want.
common, just.
Those are non-committal language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your brain does not know the difference between saying I want, they're like, okay, there's no action behind that. But when you say I, commit to doing this, your brain is like, all right, I'm going to follow suit with that.
Well, and on the same lines, I want you to like take it back for a second, because I could have easily, and every time he did this, it would like dismantle my nervous system. He'd be like, we're negative in the bank account. You can't, like, we've got to figure out how we're going to go to the grocery store today or something like that. And this was years ago. And it would wreck my entire nervous system. It would ruin my day. And here's the thing, when you're doing experiments like that, if you're continuing to put your focus into the lack and the things you don't have, it's going to continue to feed it. It constantly creates the reality. And so for me to say that during a very hard time, and for his mental state to shift so rapidly to do this experiment with me, like, I could not have done it without his partnership in it, because it does absolutely dismantle our belief system and our nervous system when we don't have that supportive sense on our side, being like, you know what, like, I believe in you. And here's the thing, I exist too. I am human, having a human experience. To me, it's profound and impactful. It might not be to anybody else, but I know there's meaning behind it. And to me, one of the worst feelings in the world would be the person I chose to spend my life with not being in support of something that I am unwaveringly confident in. And I knew that unwavering confidence and this internal belief, it stemmed from something bigger than me. It was so beyond me that I just knew it was going to be okay. I didn't know how. I just had that belief, and it created like almost this like spiral system of a team that like just went around us, and it encompassed us in a way that created everything to play out the way it did in order for him to develop the belief system and then have it for his own life. I mean, it was just a really crazy, profound thing. But I know when I say this out loud, I feel like I do come from a place of privilege of having a very supportive spouse. He's always been very supportive. I've had multiple business ventures, and never once has he been like, you can't do that, or you're not capable of that, or talk down on me. There's never been that. So, I know I do have that privilege and come from more of a biased side on that. So, that's just my 2 cents on everything.
Well, it's actually incredible because for Tyler, like, I have always told him, hey, I know I have enough belief for the both of us that we will get to where we say we want to go, even if you aren't 100% doing this Mindshift experiment with me. And I can't help but think the fact that Chris joined with you and how exponentially that took you on a new trajectory to where you're at now. And I can't help but think, like, maybe if he wavered and didn't believe with every fiber of his being, like, would it have taken you longer to get to where you're at right now with literally financial freedom that you're living? Pretty much.
Absolutely. I mean, think about how it makes you feel in your nervous system when somebody talks to you about finances or money or bills or lack of anything. Lack, period. How does that make you feel? Like, see how that makes you feel and sit with that, because that is something that's where our nervous systems get dysregulated and they no longer feel safe to receive. And if that is something that you were raised in, if that is something that is embedded in you constantly, that is the disconnect here. That is the true disconnect. And we get it all the time. I mean, Carter and I get it all the time. Well, how do we make 6 figures? How do we be successful? How do we do this? It's while we want to say, yes, it's all mindset, we know it's not. You can say you believe something and convince yourself you believe something, but you have to believe it here, here, and here. And that stems from work in every aspect, because if you believe it here, yet your outside partner is feeding you the opposite, your subconscious takes in way more than your conscious mind. And yeah, they're going to play this game and it's not going to stop. I mean, it's just going to be a constant battle of the subconscious and conscious mind 24/7 that you don't realize. And then it's going, well, why isn't this happening for me? Why am I not successful? What are these things? Like, I'm saying this as somebody on the outside, right? I'm listening to the podcast and I'm having this belief system. Why isn't it playing out? Well, that's where you got to get deeper. Where is your nervous system being dysregulated? What areas? Because it seems, and we don't want to come here and be like, it's so simple. All you have to do is change your mind. That's so beautiful, right? No. And we wish it was like that, but it's not. It is so, there's a reason our systems are, and this is my ADHD rant of the day. Okay. But there is a reason these societal systems were created and placed exactly how they were strategically to literally dysregulate your nervous system from a young age and brainwash you into this belief system, because the more power the people have, what? Yeah. think about that for a second.
Yep.
I don't even feel like I need to go into that very deeply. It'll be a whole other episode.
I had to think about how you were like, yeah, I'm doing this, but it's not working for me. I have got to give this example of someone that shared with us recently where adapting this mind shift change within themselves really has panned out for them and worked for them. So this girl, her child needs all these different surgeries. And for the last 6 months of 2024, she didn't pay any taxes. But she knew that she would somehow have the money to get this surgery done. She's a newly single mom, one income. She was like, I don't have $5,000. Well, but she knew. She didn't let her cortisol raise. She didn't go into fight or flight and wonder like, oh my gosh, how is this going to happen? She just believed that the money would come somehow. And she went back to the hospital and they reconfigured things and brought it down to like $3,200. And she met with her CPA also this week. And her CPA, she literally doesn't know how this happened because she did not pay taxes like the remainder of 2024. But the government owed her the exact damn near amount that she needs for the surgery. And I'm just like, that's faith in action. That is the mindset happening in real life and you creating your reality and having that unwavering belief that it's all going to work out. And like she was in tears telling me this and I was in tears hearing it because it's just such a beautiful thing that's happening. She's not in a place to not check her bank account. She's not in a place to do that, but she's doing it. Right. And she's believing and it's already showing her that it's paying off. I just think that's just so beautiful. So again, like it is an unwavering belief that you have to feel down into your fingertips that it's going to work out for you.
I love that. I mean, and that is true. That's how it is. I heard somebody say, they were like, oh my God, all these mindset things now and mindset this and it's woo woo or it's whatever. And you guys, it's actually like neuroscience. It's physics. It's quantum physics. It's so deep that if people think it's just as simple as like, and mind shifting or whatever, it's so deep. But that's why we had to do a whole podcast. Otherwise we'd do a 3-part training. If this was that simple, it would be that way. I mean, this took a lot of inner work. I love you, Mom. So when I say this, know that my mom is cheap as hell. Okay. She still wears the clothes she bought in 2002. She does not need to. And it's funny because she said, you know what? I got that cheapness from my mom. And she goes, I can't break it. And then my grandmother made a comment. She goes, I love your podcast so much. I wish I would have heard this when I was younger so I could have implemented the things that you guys are doing. She's like, you guys are doing incredible work because maybe I wouldn't have had the issues that I have and all of those things. And then I happened to coincided with when I watched a video that if your mind is made up and it stays the same after 50 years old, it'll continue to stay more than likely. And I thought that was wild. And so being able to hear things that might not align with exactly what you feel, think, or believe, but are backed up in irrefutable proof. Why not? My favorite thing is if you don't believe in this stuff, look at your life versus the person living it and preaching it. And for me, I always am like, well, there's a phrase, but I forgot it. Nope, there it is. It's gone. I cannot help you.
It's all right.
Just a normal Thursday night where Amanda loses her train of thought and it completely goes out the window. It's okay. I knew what we were talking about, but I forgot what I was going to say completely.
Y'all are picking up what we're putting down.
You get it. We're doing our best here, okay? No, but it goes in line with if you don't feel fully safe to receive, it makes it impossible to receive. And the thing I hear the most, and we hear it 24/7 is I'm doing these things and it's not working. If you're saying that out loud, I can already tell you why it's not working. It really is that simple. I mean, it takes work. It takes deep internal work that a lot of people dismiss or are too busy to do. But healing your nervous system isn't as much as looking in the mirror going, I love you, bitch. Like it is deeper than that. I wish it were that cute. Truly, that would be amazing. We'd all be doing super well. But it isn't that simple. But still, people even make excuses to try those things. They're like,
I made a reel about how I controlled time now that it was so interesting, the comments that I had underneath it. Like, people were like, it sounds like you're just letting it go. And I was like, well, if it was that fucking easy, everyone would grasp it. I'm like, but the way that I'm explaining it, and telling people that you can control time, they're more inclined to try it. If I'm just like, hey guys, just let it go. Let it go. No one understands that. It doesn't click with people. And I remember someone else commented underneath it and they were like, hey, I tried your experiment. My whole morning was complete disaster. Everything went wrong and I was late to work. And I was like, honestly, that actually sounds like it's working. You're just responding to it wrong.
That actually sounds like you didn't try the experiment at all, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be for real here.
Yeah. But
Are you
that's
sure
what I'm
you
saying, is
tried
like,
it?
yeah. Like people are like, okay, fine, I'll try it. And it's like, but you're hitting me with resistance already. Like you're trying to, like you're just doing it just to prove me wrong. But like you need to believe with every fiber of your being and it will work. Like I said, I literally was like, wow, it sounds like it's working. You're just not handling it very well.
But for me, it's crazy that like that is the rebuttal. That's actually incredible. But that should speak volumes to you because yes, I mean, most people are so comfortable with their anxious victim blanket and they go, you know what? Because she's doing so well, just by changing her mindset, I'm going to say that I tried it, but know that I'm actually not trying it at all. And it is the subconscious and the conscious minds playing games with each other. It's like when the white blood cells and the red blood cells fight because of sickness in the body. It's the same thing. And here's the thing, weak immune systems struggle with that more. Weak mindsets struggle with that more. It's a constant, give and take battle of the mind. And it's hard to help people that don't genuinely want to help themselves. And it might look like you do and you want it because you're coming from a place of absolute desperation. But remember when I said, what was that, episode 6, I think, or 5 or 6 or 4 or 3 or who knows at this point. But it was one of them where it was like, if you're coming from a place of yearning and wanting, it means you're lacking. And it doesn't come to you because guess what? You can't attract something that you're yearning when you're trying to align with something that you already have.
The same way like single desperate women are not attracting their husband because they're operating from desperation.
Yes, yes, exactly. Well,
but when you are operating at that frequency where you can attract that, like I know we fell in love at the right moment because it was our time to, and like our frequencies lined up with one another for that. Yeah, for that to happen.
Same.
Like for sure. It's a frequency thing, like if you are not operating at that, then you're not going to attract what you want.
I mean, that's true.
I really attracted Amanda to me.
My God.
I believe it.
I refused at first. I was like, I am not ready to settle down. Do not look at me that way. I am too young for this.
Well, wait, so I want to know more from Chris. Were you ever like unwavering at any point, or were you just like all systems go, like we're doing this?
Were you ever resistant, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say no, but that's also my personality. We were talking about this yesterday with a friend of ours where like I've always gone with the space of just openness, being open-minded, being supportive, because I have nothing to lose, right? And like I said, like I'm glad I chose the latter part of that decision, right? To embrace and support, but also be curious and ask questions. And that also came with
But also,
I was talking.
I know, but I feel like I have to shout myself out a little bit because at the same time, Chris said something a long time ago, and it's been years, but I remember it. He said, why would I not have faith in her when she's never not been successful at anything she's tried? Because I've gone into anything I've ever done with an ultimate belief within myself.
That's literally what I was about to say.
Oh my God, really? Anyways,
well, so that actually leans into some nerdy stuff I wanted to bring to the table about this is like men are more logical and like women, we are more spiritual and open to things like that. Women operate more with our right hemisphere of our brain, which is the intuition, emotion, connection, creativity, empathy, the big picture awareness. But men operate more from the left hemisphere, which is more analytical, linear, focused on logic and detail, on rational thought. And so I just have to applaud you, Chris, that you kind of went against your hardwiring and was like, all right, like I'm going to trust her. And again, that leans to the whole idea that like, if you are truly in a partnership with someone, where without a doubt that this person is your soulmate, no matter what, why wouldn't you 100% believe in them if they brought something to the table and were like, hey, like, I think this is meant for us?
Yeah. I kind of took it as a learning experience too, because there were areas of like questioning, like, what is she doing, right? Like, there's frequencies that you want to listen to that really help open up, your frontal lobes and get the brain thinking in different ways. You want to, meditate and you want to manifest, right? Your brain doesn't know the difference between what you see right here versus when you close your eyes and imagine something, right? So why not close your eyes and put yourself and project yourself to where you want to be? And that was a lot of learning for me. Like, that's where the openness had to come into play, because I was like, what is she doing? How is she doing it? And like, I've gone into my own practice now where I want that, right? Because there's so much evidence behind it, just psychologically, emotionally, and not only like personally, but to everybody that's listening and the husbands that are listening, like, it's not only uplifting their lives, it's literally uplifted our marriage, that we've learned from one another from that too. So
Well, imagine how it would have affected our marriage if he was like, you'll never be successful at that.
Right, yeah.
Like, why would you do something like that? That's stupid. Like, for me, I am somebody that is so passionate about what I want to do in life and all of these things that I couldn't fathom the person I chose to spend eternity with talking to me that way. It would destroy me as an individual. It would destroy my confidence, my internal belief system. It would destroy all that. And that can be destroyed through childhood trauma and things like that and upbringing. And, luckily no one ever told me I couldn't do anything. I was always told you can do whatever you want. You can be whatever you want. You're capable of whatever you want. You're very strong-willed. You can do whatever you want. And I'm grateful I found somebody that also kind of took on that same mannerism, because that's what I needed to thrive. Without that, I mean, who knows where I'd be? Honestly, I can't even fathom it, because I'm artistic, not autistic, both maybe. But I say that I am creative. And had I not been given the flexibility and freedom to creatively express myself in ways that I found were the best fit for me during this day and age, during these times of our lives, and didn't have a support system during the hardest time of my life, especially, being a mom and things like that, that would have been very depressing. I actually cannot fathom. And I know a lot of people are stuck in that. And, I don't even know how to address that, to be honest. I would genuinely love to know how would you, hold on, what is the advice you'd give to the women in that circumstance?
I think it's kind of just like having a conversation of like explaining their current situation, their mindset of where they are, the friends that they're talking to and learning from, and like asking for their empathy, and just showing like, I can make a choice or a decision today and stay where I'm at, but I want to make a better and greater choice for myself, but also to have the impact on our family together. And, just asking for their support and just having confidence, because, hey, we have nothing to lose. Like, I want to give it my all. I have a great friend group, a great circle of people that I've just been learning and listening from. And like, I want to be a part of that and, be a part of that circle. It's one of my favorite analogies. It's really dumb, but it's like Denzel Washington, like, you stay around the barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut, right? And so telling your significant other that like, hey, I want to be around these individuals and I want to continue learning, and this is what I'm going to do. And so also to the husbands, it's like, be open and empathetic to where your spouse or your girlfriend or, your partner is.
Or even future partner.
Or future partner, yeah. Mm-hmm. And where they want to go. Because, you as a mom, you were stuck. I also had a mindset early on of like,
the men work, the women stay home.
What Carter was talking about. Like, there's this, male figure mentality, and she was going to stay home, and I wasn't very empathetic on that. And once we...
No, I mean, like, he would come home. I had 3 kids, 3 and under, and he'd be like, what'd you do all day? And I was like...
Excuse me?
All right.
Sir, do you want to survive, actually?
My
Well, we can
clothes were in
laugh
the
about it
garage.
now.
No, I'm
They
kidding.
were not, and that was one time. No, I'm just kidding. No, but, it goes along the lines with, like, I want you to think about this. If this were your child telling you their hopes and dreams, would you be like, I'm not supportive? You could never do that. Like, that's just not your personality. Could you imagine telling your child that? And if you can, I don't know. I mean, I cannot relate to that. But
It's funny you said that, because I was thinking, like, when you told me Tyler and I were coming on, thank you both for telling us we're coming on at 6 o'clock. But
You're welcome.
We're doing it today. Okay.
Like, I'm like, okay, I got to collect my thoughts. And I was like, that was something that went straight. That's such a good point.
yeah, I mean, when you love people, you naturally want to uplift and support them.
Well, that's what when I'm doing one-on-ones and I'm coaching people and they're like, there's an issue in the marriage, and I'm like, well, it's a miscommunication. And it's really the fact that you haven't had that sit down conversation and talk to them face to face, eye to eye, no distractions, and talk from the heart. A lot of times men just want to be included in the conversation and be like, hey, like, what's going on? And not, just be like, okay, this is how we're living now, And if you can sit down and have that, like, hey, like, I'm serious about changing our lives, and I'm putting in the work to help us get to this next level. We have these dreams for ourselves, what we want to do. And like, I need you to be on the same page with me about this, because just try it. Just try it. Give it 21 days. Because again, like, if it ain't going to work after 21 days, then, I mean, I guess that's a you problem. But like, you're going to develop a habit by then, because if you're not developing that habit within 21 days, it's because you're resisting somehow. Like, you're not believing, you're not committing. There's resistance happening. But like, if you are going to give it a full try, good old college try, do this because you love your spouse, and like, all it is an experiment. If you don't like how it is at the end of it, then you don't have to. But I'm telling you, you will see damn near immediate results from leaning into this. And I think this is a great segue to Tyler. Like, 2 weeks ago, like, I've mentioned this before. Last year, Tyler was depressed. Like, for whatever reason, finances was very heavy on him, and, our future. But I always believed, I'm like, God literally gave us this house. Like, he was like, hey, you want this? This is what you've been praying for. And so I had no doubt ever in my mind that we would always have the money that we needed all last year to cover all our expenses. But he was waking up and going to sleep anxious. And I remember asking him, I'm like, if you didn't have God and a relationship with God, like, where would you be right now in this depression? He's like, I would want to, not be here.
I think the parallels in your story and ours are really kind of crazy, because I was at a point where, like you, Chris, I was worried we were going to lose our home for a period of time. Like, that weighed on me very heavily, and maybe a little bit impractical now that I look back at it, because we were still doing okay, but so I work in sales, and I had such an incredible year. I mean, God blessed our socks off. I feel like as soon as we got married, just my business took off. And we had an incredible 2021 and 2022. I mean, made more money than I ever thought I would. And it allowed us to buy our home, buy the family car, buy myself a new car. We bought a home and 2 cars in 6 months. We're like, yeah, this is awesome. And then we brought Poppy into the world, and everything was great, right? And then 2023 hits, and then slowly my business starts to go downwards. It wasn't until like 2024, like the beginning of 2024, the first quarter was like a really stressful time for me, because I saw our business basically turn upside down, and I was like, oh gosh, like, now we're screwed, like, we're in trouble. And I felt a lot of guilt about not being wiser financially and putting a plan in place. And I'm like, looking back at this is like, what have I done? I just started a family. I just got married. I should have known better, all this. And I really started to like carry that blame. And I really thought that we were going to like lose our home for a period of time. And that weighed on me. I felt guilty. As the husband, I'm the provider, I'm the protector, and I'm failing is the way that I looked at all that. And
he was not failing.
I wasn't failing. I thought I was failing. But
we were nowhere near, like, yeah.
Anyways.
But he was creating that reality by thinking that. And like, it was translating, and it was affecting our marriage and affecting the energy in our home. And, the beginning of this year, he handled his book of business really well. And now things are getting a little, like, dipping down a little bit. And he was bringing it back home. And I was like, I ain't doing this anymore. I am not dealing with the thick energy of your anxiety about what the future is unknown about.
And so 2 weeks ago, she called me on my shit.
Gave him some serious tough love.
It was on a Friday morning, and she's like, listen to me. She's like, you have 2 choices. Like, you can either dwell in this and be anxious and fearful about what's going to happen, or you can decide to reject that, choose positivity, and carry that attitude with you through the workday. And I was like, you're so right. Like, you're so right. And I didn't even get mad. I couldn't even get mad. No. I was just like, you know what? You're absolutely right. It's a choice. What your attitude is each given day. And it takes effort, right? Like, it's not like, you can't just say like, oh, I'm going to be positive today. No, it's literally like in each and every single moment, like you have to speak to yourself positively, and you can't let that negative stuff overtake you, because it will, you know, if you allow it, you have a choice in each and every moment. And, you know, like myself in my sales job, like there's stuff that goes wrong all the time. All the time. Like I work in logistics, drivers BS around and do things that
Trucks catching on fire.
Trucks catching on fire, just nightmarish shit that happens every day. And like, again, that's a choice to say, okay, I'm going to catastrophize this and let it ruin my day. Or that's the industry I work in. Okay, let's put out this fire and let's move forward, you know? And ever since that conversation, really, so like this is
night and day,
fairly recent, you know, like I took her words to heart, and I was like, you know what, you're absolutely right. Like, and I was bringing that stuff home, I was weighing on her. And
I'm an empath. Like I will literally become the energy of someone else. And I'm high vibes right now. I'm like, we are about to change our life. We are on the precipice of changing our life. And he's like,
well, I've always had the utmost faith in her. Like her positivity, her energy. You know, we actually worked at the same company for a while. She came in and crushed it from the get-go. I don't know if you guys have talked about like your journey, like with your leg and everything, but like just her resilience and what she has gone through was, I mean, one of the many reasons why I was attracted to her and love her so much is like she went through hell and back and is still standing here today, like, you know, with the utmost positivity and the greatest attitude. And she doesn't let shit bring her down. And I respect the hell out of that. And so she's inspired me. She really has inspired me. And, you know, I'm determined to not go backwards.
well, tell him. So he had anxiety and doubt creeping in today.
I was
And
asked.
So we're trying to navigate, you know, the inner voices that we have, you know, the ego and Satan, enemy, whatever you want to call it, and battling that and trusting to know which voice to trust and which one to be like, fuck off.
Yeah. So, I mean, I pray a lot throughout the day, you know, because there's a lot of stuff I have to ninja throughout the day mentally. You know, I got that anxiety creep. I pulled up my revenue report and I'm like, this is god awful. But then immediately I had this like download where it was like, just be bold and don't worry, I got you. Like I heard it like clear as day, and I was like, where did that come from? But I heard it clear as day, and I texted Carter right away. I was like, you know what? That's the craziest thing. Like I all of a sudden have peace, like go about my day and have a great attitude. And it ended up being a great day, you know? So it really is a choice is ultimately what I'm trying to say. It's a choice in each and every moment, like which voice you're going to listen to. Like you're going to have that voice of doubt, negativity, doom and gloom, or I got this, I'm capable, like I'm meant to figure this out. This is all going to be great. Like you have to choose, because you're always going to have both sides of the spectrum trying to steal your peace every given day.
Well, and that's like one of those things where it's like, if you know you're going to have a bad day, you're going to find proof that it's a bad day. If you know it's going to be a great day, you are going to find proof that it's going to be a great day. Like we can create that. A lot of people, you know, I hear it every Monday at Pilates. Oh, it's another Monday, something about Mondays. And I'm just like, yeah, I mean, you can set it up to be that way. If I were to put the extra thought process into all the little things that have gone wrong to make it feel like a Monday, every day could feel like a freaking Monday. But it's all in how you look at things. Instead of looking at things as inconveniences or setting you up for failure or creating whatever scenario we play in our head, we quite literally do create that. Have you heard, and Hunter brought this up earlier, my girlfriend, where I remember the story where there is a cat in a box. I don't remember it verbatim. I could probably Google it, but I'm just going to tell it to you from my memory. But it's basically like they tell the observer, what? Okay. She said it's a cat in a box with a gun, where she said, I guess it's if the cat steps on a string or something, the gun will go off and kill it. And so it's up to the observer, basically. They're like, whatever you expect the cat to be is what the cat will be when you open the box. If you expect a dead cat, you'll see a dead cat. If you expect an alive cat, you'll see an alive cat. And it truly is one of those things where it's like, you can absolutely create the outcome. The outcome is here. And there's just so much more in that. You heard that from Joe Dispenza, right? She said, yeah, had to verify. It's been a while since I've heard that one, but it is very good. Isn't it crazy?
Yeah. I mean, no, truly. Like, I mean, I even saw it in real time. I made a reel about this again earlier this week. Like every day I'm like, today is the best day ever. I'm going to have a great day. I have that mentality. But when I woke up a couple days ago, I just was like, funky. Like I just was like, I am not excited about today. And I had to tell myself this, like, and coach myself, be like, hey, like, you're gonna have a great day. It's a choice to have a great day. And I'm like telling myself this. And as I'm walking down the stairs, I feel like my smile creep up on my face. I'm like, hell yeah, it's working. All right. And I meet Tyler and I have a smile on my face and he's like, what's going on? Why are you in such a good mood? And I was like,
First thing in the morning.
damn, you picking up on that. I'm normally not walking in to see him with a huge smile on my face, you know? But like, that's how quickly it can work. That's how quickly your mind can change to adapt a new reality if you want to, but it's a choice.
Well, and you can wake up like that too, like, and just decide it. You can wake up and go, you know what? I am deciding this. But it is crazy because you could tell everybody that they have the option to mold their day. And you want to know the percentage of people that will actually do it? It's like less than 1%. It's actually wild because people lack such internal self-belief due to societal conditioning, due to childhood conditioning, generational conditioning, all of those things. And that's why we felt so passionate and purposeful about getting this podcast out, because it was like we see where this can stem from and we can do our best to help guide people on breaking that and getting out of it. Because and how do we know? You know, people are always like, well, how do you know? We did it. We literally did it. That's how. That's how we know. I could be, love you, mom, but I could be super cheap like my mother, who, like I said, has not even bought a new outfit since 2002. I've tried everything. Okay. I can't even. Maybe this will be her motivating factor, honestly. But she, you know, she's like, oh, I'm cheap because my mom was cheap.
Well, she's putting a word curse over herself, furthering the idea that she's cheap by telling herself she's cheap.
But here's the thing. Of course, her mom was cheap. My mom's mom, my grandma, hi, Gigi. Gigi lost both her parents by 16 years old, and there were 4 siblings. Yeah, of course they were cheap. What were they supposed to do? They were young, you know? So you really look at how things come about and what they're stemmed from, and it all starts to make sense, and it gives you a lot of empathy because a lot of people can blame their stuff on their parents and stuff like that, but it's so much deeper than one lineage or like one generation. It stems back. That's why they call it generational trauma. People think that is a new age term or theme or whatever. That's not. It's a thing. And it's crazy how deep it goes because there is actually proof that, you know, our DNA holds our ancestors' DNA. Like
Epigenetics.
Yes, epigenetics.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how everything goes really deep, but you know, I know they've watched it firsthand. I do have a couple questions for Tyler really quick before I forget. They came in before they leave again. We know how this goes. I would love to know, I mean, it's hard. I would love to know how you felt because you've tackled this from a slightly different place than Chris. I would love to know how you felt watching Carter's journey unfold with all of this. Let's say like the past year, because I know you've gone through some really dark times too.
But what changes have you seen in me by adapting this?
Right, that is what I meant. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really night and day. Like, I want to say this all started when I started the like budget dog program, right? So like when I was concerned about our finances, I signed up for this
financial literacy course.
Exactly, from this guy on Instagram, and it was great. And you know, I was sitting at the table every night doing spreadsheets and trying to get our financial house in order, right? And then Carter seeing that just springboarded the whole olive tree people thing. And from there, you know, Amanda, you are a huge part of her inspiration. I want to give you that credit. Like your story, I mean, your guys' story is insane. Like that first episode you guys recorded, I got chills. I was like, dude, I did not know like all the details of like what all you guys went through, and it's super, super inspiring. But anyways, just want to give you that credit. But no, like her shift in things was honestly like just dramatically different. Like all of a sudden, like she would not let me speak negatively. All of a sudden, like if I had one complaint, she'd be like, no. Like you need to flip that. You need to say it like this, you know. And like those I am statements, and not the, what's the word you use? Non-committal language. And she started to just change the way that she framed everything. And then, you know, just kind of became like an in-house coach for me. You know what I mean? Like calling me out on stuff that I didn't even know was a problem, you know? Like I just, she would call me out on things that
I
thought
did it
was
last
subtle.
night. He said something like, "Oh, I'm mastering my sales script. It's gonna take me a long time, though." I go,
Yeah. She
"It
would
ain't
spot
gonna take
me.
you a long time. You're telling your brain it's gonna be a long time now. It could happen tomorrow that you
Yeah.
master it."
Exactly. And so like it was literally like night and day within a span of just a couple of months. And I think that, you getting involved with Amanda and all the other women in the company like sparked that change. And I think that's one of the great things about like network marketing in general is like
I feel like it's the epitome of you
personal
are who you
development.
surround yourself with.
100%.
You are
Yeah.
who you surround
100%.
yourself with.
Exactly. Like you are, what's the saying? Like you are the product of the 5 people you spend the most time
Yes,
around, right?
that's what I was looking for too, but it didn't come out.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, and Amanda, it's so evident that like you guys have become such close friends, and like I hear her speaking a lot of the same ways that you do, and her mindset has just changed dramatically. Like she's so much more motivated, so much more intentional.
Now I'm patient now.
Yeah, you talk about the controlling time video, like that was not Carter like 2 years ago. Are you kidding me? Like it was all about like get out the door.
Pick
make
the
this
best
turn.
parking spot. If it is not right by the door, if we are not there 5 minutes early, like it was just.
I mean, backseat driver right here. She's like, no, it's gonna be faster if you do that. It's gonna be faster if you do this. And she just has grown much more patient and much more motivated and much more positive. And she truly believes that we can accomplish these massive, ridiculous goals. And I love that because I need that. Like I'm extremely self-critical. It's something that I'm working on. But the way that I speak to myself sometimes, like I'm an asshole to myself, which is just crazy. Like no one should be that way. Like you should speak to yourself like you speak to a friend, just like
No, you should speak to yourself like you love yourself unconditionally.
exactly, but just like a friend, right? Like the way that you would speak to Carter or you would speak to Amanda, that's the way that you need to speak to yourself. And if you don't have that relationship with yourself, if you don't have that self-belief, you're going to struggle. And she's been like the angel on my shoulder ever since she started on this journey, truly, when I needed it most. Because, like just like you guys, like we have big dreams and aspirations. And, as a father of 2 little girls that I adore, like I want the world for them and I want the world for her. And at a time where I was like really struggling to believe I could achieve those dreams, like she was just on this trajectory that I was like, wow, okay, like she's onto something because she has this unwavering self-belief that is just so cool. And yeah, she's inspired me a ton.
I figured it would be really fun if we played like a rapid fire.
Okay.
Like where we ask them questions and you each have like 30 seconds to answer.
Oh boy.
Okay.
What I know, rapid fire.
Do you have the question?
Yeah, I
Okay,
sure
good.
do.
All right, let's do it.
All right, let's start with, you know what? Let's start with Tyler. Best advice for a skeptical man.
Listen to your wife.
Yes, thank you. What about you?
I mean, keep an open mind. Keep an open mind. Listen to your wife.
What
I
do you say?
mean, he said, honestly, that was great. You don't have anything else? Wow. Okay. All right. One belief system that you've personally dropped since watching us do our experiment. You.
One belief you've dropped.
One like belief system that you've personally dropped. Like, really? Okay. No, you don't know what that means?
You want me to go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One belief that I've dropped? I mean, that you have limits? You really don't.
That
You
is
really
good.
don't. Like, it's a matter of, like, what you decide you're gonna be. Like, take, for example, Carter, right? Like, you hitting Black Olive Star. Crazy. Like, she had a goal that she was gonna hit that rank. When did you hit it? November?
In November.
Yeah, but damn it, she hit it 1 month before
The cutoff
the,
of
the cutoff. And she set it from April when she started. And month after month, she's getting closer, she's getting closer, she's getting closer, she's getting closer. And then, what did you do in October? Like,
under 100,000.
40, 50 grand?
No, I mean I did like it was under 100,000.
Whatever. In November, she like quadruples her sales. And I'm like, wow. Like, I mean, it was like it was a shot in the dark in my mind. I was like, okay, like she thinks she can hit it. I'm going to encourage her.
We prayed about it every morning.
If it happens, it happens. If not, okay. But she went out and did it, and like the evidence was not there the month before that it was going to happen. Like not a whole lot of evidence that it was going to happen, but she stayed focused. She kept She kept grinding, she kept doing her thing, and just believed, and boom, happened.
Love it. Okay.
That's good.
Let's see, craziest thing you saw her doing? I'm definitely going to you.
This is one I got.
I was about to say, sure.
So it was a couple of years ago, though. You had purchased this pink mat that was furry, and I walked into the room, and there was this like mantra going on, and you were like pounding on the.
Okay, anyways, it's true. It is true. Absolutely.
We all have our journeys, you know.
Please. Don't worry about that. Never mind. You're not next again.
Wait, where's this pink hat?
Wait a minute, I want to hear
You don't
more.
have anything pink.
I need to hear more about this.
You guys, we're just gonna most unexpected thing that's taught you about yourself. What's the
Maybe
most
maybe
unexpected
outside
thing-
the podcast. So wait,
What
was
is
the
the
question?
most Did you hear that or no? I said, what's the most unexpected thing that's taught you about yourself? I know. So have an answer.
I mean, I realize that I'm
Where
addicted.
is your brain tonight?
Oh, I was just gonna wait for him.
Put
You know?
it on.
What did you say?
I said I realize that I am an unreasonable. I'm unreasonable to myself. Like I'm a jerk to myself, and that's something that like I didn't realize until Carter really started to encourage me with this whole mindset shift. But I'm incredibly hard on myself, and I don't know why. I don't know where that hardwiring comes from. Like you talked about, you know, childhood trauma, generational trauma, probably some nonsense comments my brothers made to me when I was young that still just are lodged in my self-conscious or something like
Did
that.
you do
I
sports?
I did.
There
I
you
played
go.
basketball. Yeah, I played basketball for 10 years.
Find me somebody that did a sport growing up, long term, that is not hard on themselves or wasn't at some point.
Yeah, and I mean,
that's
it's that
usually what-
comparison game. It's that comparison game, right? Like you're looking at all the guys to the right and left of you, and
Like you're
you
never
know,
good enough. Because if you're not the
Exactly.
best, you're never good enough. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, no one teaches you to distinguish the voices inside your head. Like, literally, no one at all helps you distinguish that there's two voices inside your head, and it's a positive and a negative one.
But do you know what a parallelogram is? That's all that matters. So, like, what?
I thought about a parallelogram.
I know,
since
right?
I was
But I can
14.
picture it.
You were taught that instead of distinguishing your inner voices.
Right.
I know.
How to go overcome childhood trauma, balancing a checkbook, taxes,
No.
anything normal.
No, if it's not going to serve you with the 9 to 5, jail sentence that is set up for you, like they're not going to help you realize that knowledge and uncovering about yourself.
Yeah. It is really funny though. I asked one of our children earlier, I said, did you love school? Because they had asked to be put back in school and we put them back in it's temporary, but it's something that they wanted to do for friendships. And he goes, it's half fun, but it's mostly a prison. I said, well, I know, but at least you understand that. Do you want to go back? And he said, yeah. I said, oh, okay. But like his mental awareness to be like, I mean, half learning, half fun, half prison. I'm like, okay. I mean, you're not
He's
wrong.
wiser than he knows.
Right?
Yeah, but I thought that was crazy. Okay, I'm going to ask one last good question before we wrap it up. Okay, and this, you better both answer it. Do you hear me? I don't care who goes first. What is one thing your wife, hear that? Your wife taught you without ever saying it?
I say for me, it was like just bring the reality that you want it to through that practice and that consistency.
Okay, that was good.
Yeah, it's kind of deep, but for rapid
That's a
fire.
good answer.
No, it's not deep for rapid. There was a point to the rapid fire movement.
Gosh, I just think in her actions, just her intentionality behind everything. I'm super ADD and like I struggle to be structured, and seeing her, especially like bringing our children into the world, just like her intentionality behind preparing for that and making sure that that she was hip to the proper nutrition and the right this and the right that and the non-toxic this, and just that effort and that intentionality behind just caring, like caring about doing things right, doing things well and with excellence. That is something that, I love my parents, but it wasn't necessarily modeled for me that way. And just kind of watching her and observing that, I'm like, wow, like this girl gets it. Like there's something, like I truly feel that God like paired us together for a reason, because we're very different in a lot of ways, but she kind of opened my eyes to, just being intentional. Like your time matters, your what you focus on matters, like what you do matters, and it's not just a day to be wasted, you know. And I'd say that's the biggest thing that she's showed me without verbalizing it.
So relatable.
So relatable. All right, guys. Well, this was amazing. If you guys have anything else you want to add or offer our listeners before we go tonight, if not, that's okay too. I cannot believe we're already on our 9th episode, but it also feels like our 9 millionth. It's just been crazy journey so far.
Right.
You guys are killing it.
Thank you.
Thank you for your support. Because
Seriously.
again, this is just a hobby for us.
Yeah, thank you for everybody's support, including our husbands, because it is just a hobby that is a lot of effort and time, more than we actually thought.
And money. It does cost money to do this.
So sponsors,
We
where
are
you
in the red right now.
We are in the red.
For long.
It won't be for long. See that mindset. We're teaching you in real time. We are showing up with utter confidence that we know we are going to be wildly successful. We will be a top 50 podcast, to say the least. I can't wait to be on Joe Rogan one day. Yeah. I am successful. But real quick, I gotta just do my plug. I don't know if you guys saw, but Joe Rogan did tag me on Instagram, but then he quickly untagged me when he realized it was in fact the actual wrong Amanda Knox.
Can you just clarify for people if they don't know who that Amanda Knox is?
No, Google it. It'll be your Google it.
Wait, tell them your TikTok name. Your TikTok name is honestly my most favorite.
It is not that Amanda Knox, because you should see the messages I get on Instagram. I am Amanda Knox for many, many, many years. And obviously I'm married into the name, but I get messages on Instagram all the time. I know you killed her. And I'm like, you know what? At one point, I just started responding with knife emojis because I'm like, you know what? Okay. I mean, what a weird thing to message somebody, but here we are. So, anyways, so on that note, you can Google it. I do happen to look far more like Hayden Panettiere that played her in the movie than the actual Amanda Knox. Listen, I got no beef with you, Amanda. I think you're great. You do you. You've been killing it out there. Clearly, I've been tagged in all of it. That's how I know. It's been a fun ride. I went from one last name. I was like, shoot, wiping my hands of the worst last name known to man. Have I ever even told you my maiden name?
Wait, when did you get married and when did the whole
That
Amanda
weekend, the same time. I actually went back to school married and it was a thing. Yeah, actually. Yeah,
what are the odds? That is wild.
The odds are the fact that I was so glad I was marrying I'm sorry, Mom and Dad. I was so grateful that I was marrying out of my maiden name. My maiden name is Baggett. Okay. I want you to really sit with that one for a second. So imagine what I was called growing up. Can you?
Wrong F word.
The wrong one. And I'd be like, that's a bundle of sticks. You don't know. It's spelled baguette. Like the bread. It wasn't. It was Baggett. So I was like, oh my God. I mean, going from Amanda Baggett to Amanda Knox, like, it literally could not get any better. And then it didn't, actually. Yeah. I remember us.
You're like, hear me, I'm Amanda Knox. And you're like.
Yeah. Actually, I have been, while traveling internationally, I have been where they bring you back and they check your passport and they wipe you down and they do like the extra security measures. And I have had people be like, I don't know if I'd go to Italy if I were you. I'm like, we're not the same. Blood test me. I don't know.
Wait, now we have to go to Italy together just so I can
have to go to Italy just so you can witness it, and then we'll document we'll vlog it. Is vlogging? Honestly, that would be amazing. If anybody wants to sponsor our trip, I'm down. That would be a really, really fun time.
Yeah, we would love that.
So sponsors, no, just kidding. What we're doing here is amazing. I love it. I cannot wait for you guys to see what we have coming up because it's actually insane. We're about to start getting into some really, really, really big things. Even deeper. But this was just such a highly requested episode. We were like, you know what? Hey, at 6 p.m. we let them know that they were going to be on and that they had no choice. And here we are. So we hope
y'all did great.
Enjoyed it.
I think we killed it.
Yeah.
Great job, bud.
You too.
You guys go enjoy the rest of your.
Great job, everyone.